So this is weird. It looks like the Sony is releasing. Obviously, they're in the throes of releasing the PS5 and trying to catch up and trying to get it readily available. And I don't think the chip shortage or anything has anything to do with this, but it looks like they're changing the console a little bit for holidays of 2023. And this is all still a little bit of rumorville, but a lot of people are talking about it. And it looks like they're going to have a detachable disk drive that will connect to an extra USB-C port on the back of the console. This coming from InsiderGaming.com. And so it's this weird thing that's been getting thrown around a lot on the internet. I'm not sure why they would be doing this, but one of the reasons that they give is also for when the disk drive fails. Now, let's say, for me, somebody who bought a PS5 with a disk slot on it already. Yep. If that were to fail, you could buy this extra component instead of having to buy a whole new console. And then for people that have a diskless version, or they'll be able to add this to it. And this is crazy to me. It feels like the days of like the Sega CD, like where you play it like this, but then like you can click this thing onto the console and then play this. So I'm not sure who this is for. Maybe it's just for the digital person that wants to go back and play some old games, maybe that's not streaming or whatever. But it looks like these little rumors are getting flown around, and I don't know. Chris, what'd you think? Did you see?
And it's not a hard drive?
Yeah, a disc.
It's not a hard drive.
No, not a hard drive. A disc, like
just
to
for,
take
just
the
to
disc.
play
just to play in the okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea that someone who, whether it's because of finances or that's all they could get their hands on because it was hard at the time, that got a diskless version, having the option to then retrofit that on there.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's good to have options, especially if that unit will be cheaper. But I mean, I have no use for this. I wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing was when they brought up if your disc, if your thing breaks, if yours fails, and we've seen that happen on consoles. Now, I've been lucky enough; it's never happened to me. I've still got a day one PS4, and that's what my kids play almost every day. The disc still works on that, and so they made a product that lasted for a long time. Then, hoping that they do that now. Ed, did you bought one with a disc or with? I mean, did you buy discless or with?
It's got a disc, yeah.
So this wouldn't be your thing either.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like you. I've never had a problem with the disc drive, fortunately. I mean, I'm on my third DualSense, and just this week it started to get drift. And I'm like,
really?
I'm like, how about you work on these stinking controllers? I'm on my third DualSense, and they're not cheap. It's just
no.
That's crazy. It's interesting. Sources have said that although the new detachable disk drive is portable, it will not ruin the aesthetic of the console and will attach to it without looking external. Presumably meaning the new PlayStation 5 will look similar to the existing model. And so, we know the diskless version is, slimmer and the one with the disc got that bump out. And so you would imagine that would just kind of click on to the side there. But I think if the price point's right, because I think the diskless version is $100 less than the disc version.
I think so.
Something like that. But I could see this peripheral being $150 though, even I don't know if it'll just be just that gap, but I don't know. I thought it was just really interesting because we haven't seen something like this in a long time. I mean, again, the last thing I can remember, adding to a system was the Sega CD, but I think did the Nintendo no, the NES didn't have anything like that, and then the 64 didn't. So, I mean, to my memory, somebody was going to be like, oh, no, this also came out. But the Sega CD is the last thing I remember. You had your Sega, which played with a cartridge, and then you had the Sega CD that you attached to it and, did that. I can't remember another instance.
And it's not like this is to help with storage or anything because you're still putting the disc in. It still has to copy everything. So
I wouldn't think it had anything to do with that.
If it was that plus extra storage, I'd be probably like, yeah, that sounds pretty decent. And you know, I as well play games and purchase on disc, so I bought my disc PS5 as well. But yeah, I haven't had the problem, knock on wood, of the drive being default or anything like that.
fair.
I like the option. Am I going to pay $100+ to get it?
But you would probably if your disc disked PS5 did fail, you would definitely. I would
That's
definitely
true.
spend $150 instead of for me, instead of going all digital, or instead of obviously having to buy another console.
Right.
Yeah.